Yeah, and so a lot of you is out there, you're looking for a job. And before we get to that, this is going to be specific job advice or how to improve your searches. This goes along with you got to know how to code, you got to know what you're doing, those kind of things. But like once you get to that point, we're just going to talk about like how we can improve our job search. A lot of people think there's no junior jobs, there's no jobs out there, period. And that's just so far from the truth. And just people, I think, don't know how to look, and then they don't know how to win those roles once again. So we're going to cover all that. But first, I think we should talk about our giveaway real quick because like we're closing in on that, man.
We are.
So like
you have an
like, look at this. Yeah. So at 100,000 subs, we're going to give away a pretty big prize package. So scan that,
2 grams worth.
enter, and there's not a million people in this thing. So
no, there's hundreds.
Hundreds. So like if you're going to Vegas or something like that, or you're buying lottery tickets, this one right here is a way better lottery ticket. You don't have to pay for it. You know, like you just enter.
It's free.
It's free. So we're going to give it away to somebody. I will say this, as we approach 95,000 subs, recently we've had a spike in subs, which is great. So if that keeps going, we could be giving this thing away next month. We'll just see.
Maybe. Maybe. We will see.
Maybe.
So yeah, this is it's a giveaway. It is free to enter. There's no commitment. All you have to do, we just need email address and name. That's it. That's just so we can contact you, and then whoever wins, we'll ship the prize package. It is US only, unfortunately, because we do have to ship something. So it's often we've made that mistake before. We end up shipping something halfway around the world. It costs us more than the thing we're giving away. Yeah, so we're not making that mistake again. I forget
we shipped something at a mall once, and it was just like enormously expensive. So
it can be very expensive. Yeah, global shipping isn't cheap. So So the advice today comes from experience with us, right? We see a lot of people that come to our boot camp are career switchers, right? It's not.
I would say all of them are pretty much. I mean, we do have computer science guys coming in that are or another school, but if you really look at them, they're switching from another career most of the time.
So that's where this advice comes from. It comes from experience when we're dealing with other people who have had a prior career, whether it be short term, long term, doesn't matter. You have some other experience in some other realm that isn't software development.
Right. And so a lot of times that experience, when you look at it, isn't like you'd think it's not directly relatable. The other myth that goes with this is people think that if I get a career in software development, I'm going to only work for a software development company, that their business is software. And people don't realize that every company in the US is a software company.
Right.
You know?
Right. Every industry,
kind of how it works.
Every industry's into software these days. So, and we'll talk about some of those examples, but everything is.
Right. And so we have people that come to us from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all careers, everything. And what we always try to do is try to find something that we can relate that background experience to, because it's like if you just put the experience on a resume, it doesn't work. That's also, when you look at the Coder Foundry model, is why we push so hard to build portfolios and projects and all these things, because we know that if you just try to like say, hey, I went to Coder Foundry and here's my resume, you're not going to win. You have to bring some experience and things to the table. So our advice is, do you have projects? Do you have a portfolio? Those are like guaranteed. That's like step 0. If you're looking at the first position in an array, this is step 0. Learn to code, make a portfolio of projects. Now let's talk about after you've done that, like how can I use my experience? If I have no experience, I'm going from 0 to hero. How do I use my current experience in there? So like, I think this is real important for people to understand how this works. So I've got a couple of questions, a questionnaire, and Kevin, we can put these in chat or we can put them in the description here, probably the description of the video, to keep it long term.
Yep.
So first thing you need to do is look at your current experience, your last couple of jobs. What have you been doing? And so let's take some jobs that are generally not associated with tech jobs. Right. These are industry jobs, you know, and so like what we're saying is that we're not saying that the job you currently hold is bad or anything. I think that there's value in all work, and like if you have a job, 100%. That's fantastic, that's great. But we're going to key some roles that people had coming into our cohorts, and then they went out. So
these are from real people.
Yeah.
So stories.
So I'll go through a couple of those jobs at the end of this. We'll save those later. But let's look at your job right now. So if you're listening to this, look at the job you're currently in, and that could be, you're saying, hey, I'm unemployed, Bobby. Okay, great. what have you done in your past? You know, like what types of things have you done? And so break that experience down in companies. The first question you need to ask yourself is, of the job that I worked in, what industry is that business in? What is the global industry that it's going to be in? And what is unique about that industry? There's a reason that it's an industry. Those industries have unique traits. And what other companies are in that industry than the one I work for? So you can make a list there. So we're starting to make a list of companies or targets that we can do based on the job that I worked in. And then we're going to find out if those companies are hiring software developers. All right, we'll show you how to do that in a second. So the second thing is, so now that you've identified the large industry you're looking in, look at the suppliers of that company. A supplier is someone that gives you materials or things you use every single day. Like this supplier could be, so if you're working as a bartender, you have a person that's bringing you the kegs of beer or whatever it is. And so that could be, that's a supplier, for an example. Or if you're working at a construction company, someone is providing lumber or raw materials for you to build the houses, those things like that. Those are your key suppliers. Who are they? What are they? Who are they? So now we've identified some very specific companies that directly impact the business I am. So before it was industry-wide, all of my competitors and people like me. Now, who are the companies that service what I'm in? Then we also can look at vendors. Vendors don't supply materials, but they may supply a service. So that's a vendor, someone that they pay every month to do something, whatever that is. Who are those vendors? Now, when you look at these suppliers and vendors, typically they service your industry, or some of them may be multi-industry, but a lot of them, if you find those very industry-specific suppliers and vendors, that's a key target for you to work in. I mean, like for you can identify a company. The other one is, what other industries service your company? So like you may have other industries that are set up in our global economy that service other industries. And so now we can find out who are those companies, what does that industry look like, and you can start breaking that industry down. And then finally, look around in your job, what software is crucial to the company that you're in, the specific company you're in. And this is like a targeted look. What software do y'all use every day? So that could be, who is my point of sale platform? You may have to go ask some questions if you're working at, say, a retail company or a convenience store, a quick service restaurant. Like, who is the vendor that provides that software to us, you know, so that you can figure out who these companies are. So we can do this up front, like we said, or we can go to Indeed, and we do this a lot. We go to Indeed and we filter by associate or entry-level positions in the United States, and then we look and see what those companies are. Now, once that company comes up and you do your research on that company, ask yourself this question: is the industry that I have, is it in that industry? And do I have direct experience about how that works? Because I can tell you that if you interview for a company and that company has very specific goals and things they're trying to achieve, and your experience, your life experience lines up with that, that's going to lead to a more positive look at your portfolio, your skills, or whatever. So still going to be skills first, but man, if you could come in and say, I know how this works, or I know how this industry works, then you're going to get a more favorable view of how you can break in that way, because they're going to think, okay, they already know it. I don't have to explain to them how this works.
Exactly. It's even terminology, just understanding some basic things around an industry will give you a leg up, because when you go to the interview and you start talking about or use terminology and use words that they use, it makes the connection. It works. It's one less thing they have to teach you. They don't have to teach you about the industry. You just have to do the software part, right? So it's like you're bringing that knowledge in. Just makes it so much easier. You're more likely to succeed. Let me look at a couple things here real quick. So look at this one real quick. So Pablo says, man, I'm doing from office work to working on a radio station to working as a musician, work on warehouses. That's okay. You have a lot of different experience. So yeah, pick the area that you like to work in. If you would like take radio station or musician, I guarantee you use that
very
same thing
unique industry.
There's lots of stuff there.
Very few people work in that industry, and then they have very unique problem sets. And that means that, office work, very generic. Radio station, very specific. That is something that you can break down into and like really have an experience that a lot of people don't have. You also probably have a knowledge of vendors that work in there, or suppliers that work in there that I don't know about. I didn't know that that's how that worked. I'm going to give you a couple today that even Kevin goes, wow, there's an industry for everything. So
I did say that. I was like, wow, there is an industry for everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about a real job that has a real, that we're trying to place in right now, just to give you some, it's kind of interesting. So working as a musician, I mean, like, yeah. So you've worked in the clubs, you worked in wherever you displayed it, but you also know about the equipment surrounding that musician. What is the amps? What are the different things that you buy, the different retail establishments you go to? As a musician, what are the stuff that you use? And then you can turn those into companies and see if they hire software developers.
There's a ton of tech in music these days.
Yeah,
tons of tech in music.
Tons of tech. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Warehouses, easy. Logistics, moving things around, RFD scanners. There's a lot of things going on inside of warehouses. A lot of tech inside of warehouse. A lot of tech and office work, obviously, but a little bit more generic. But if you worked in a warehouse and Amazon's hiring for somebody to help them with logistics, you can start to see how this kind of correlates. You're like, oh yeah, I worked in a warehouse. We did logistics. I understand how that works. Therefore, I'm going to be a better software developer for you.
Yeah, you understand how the paperwork works. You understand how the systems work. You've used them. Like you have more knowledge than you think you do.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you this. You can take something like banking and you go to a bank for the first time and work on the inside of a bank. They have their whole other language. Like you like, it's like learning a whole new language. Yeah. There's like 40 buzzwords for everything. There's processes and like, so I can remember when we first started the other company that I used to work for, learning about how the inner workings of credit and fraud and all this. I had to learn a lot about because you'd get in a meeting and I would be writing down these 3-letter acronyms. Like,
yes, my wife talks in acronyms. She's in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. I know, man.
And I'm supposed to understand it. And I went, phew, I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, I can remember for the longest time we worked and people would talk about like positive pay this, positive pay that. And I never understood for a long time, like, what the heck is positive pay? What are they talking about? Like, so I finally just asked in the meeting, like, what is positive pay? Oh, we just call into the other bank to see if it has money in it. It's like, okay, so you want me to automate that? Okay, like let's, now I can see how now I can think of the software solution. Before, if I don't understand what the problem even is, it's really hard to code that, to build that. So I think that's interesting. I mean, so that's kind of cool.
There you go. Here's Alan, by the way. Hey, Alan. Just summing this up. Use what you know and ship it.
Ship it. That's Alan knows. I've talked to him a lot. Ship it.
There you go. So let's see what Clara's saying here. So we can help Clara out here too. So
okay.
So Clara says, since I haven't been paid for the work I've done for the past 14 years, I'm guessing stay-at-home parent. I'm guessing that's a guess, but I think you've mentioned that before. But let's say that is even the case. I'm afraid employers won't recognize my value, my experience, and value I actually provide. You have way more value than you think you do.
Well, so Clara, here's what you need to think about. Let's say we don't know what it is. If you want to tell us what that is, if it is stay-at-home mom, we'll just take that one, okay? You're thinking, okay, I was a home care provider. I did nothing but like clean up messes and wash clothes and do those kind of things. But there are companies that service that industry. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, so there are companies that service that industry. So for example, I'm going to give you a real life example of a real life Coder Foundry student that got a real job that targets moms. And so there's a company that wrote the book, What to Expect When You Know You're Expecting, which is about birth and about things like that. And they have this entire industry around that book and like 10,000 other publications. Yeah. She went to work there. And that's what it is, so she has kids. I'm not certain exactly why they interviewed her. I just remember she went to Coder Foundry, she got a job. But like, that's to tell you that your experience has no value. This is why we're making this video, because we sometimes need to coach people into it. Like, and start thinking through this process. Like, tell me what you do. Like, I don't do anything. I'm just a bartender. Well, like, I understand that, but tell me like more about like, what do you do on a daily basis? What are the skills that you use? And I've noticed we've had plenty of bartenders come through. And the thing you notice right away when you meet with them, and this is my point number 2, is they're exceptional in the soft skills. Very rarely do you ever meet a bartender that can't tell you a good story or hold a conversation or do something like that.
Part of the job.
Because that is the job. It's really not about serving drinks. It's about making a connection with another human, making them talk to them about whatever's going on in life and see, serve them drinks, get more tips, and cut them off when they're drunk. I mean, that's kind of what it is. So I don't undervalue or undersell your life experiences when I'm saying, Claire. Don't do that. Analyze it, break it down, look at it, see where you can find things that you can cross-sell your skills with, so that people will go, oh, you didn't waste the last 14 years of your life. And then you can target companies that think like you, which is another reason why we want to talk about this, the weirdest one that we have.
There are loads of companies that will value the fact that you've spent 14 years at home raising kids. There are. And it may not be, you may not be the ones that you think about, but there are plenty. If you take this action, you start looking at it and look at companies that do service that industry, your experience there, your domain knowledge of being a mom at home is massive to some company out there.
Yeah, not only do you bring experience into the company, you use all their products, you use all their stuff, but you can also maybe give them insight, it'd be really cool. I mean, that's the meeting you want to have. When your software team comes in and says, with deep insight, that says, what would really be beneficial to us? Boom. And then that's an idea. So how do we code that? How do we implement that? That's a good idea. And a lot of times, if you're running a company, a CEO of a company or whatever, you can get into a bubble and you never really talk to customers. You never really see. So if you never hire people that are coming from your industry, you lack the insight. If every single person that worked at Coder Foundry was a computer science grad and they all went to computer science school and studied software development, and that's their whole life experience, we would never, ever win, because we have to bring all of these people in, and so that you can say, oh, that's a good idea. I like that. I like that approach. I like that insight. So I think that's great, Claire.
Yeah. Just to confirm here too, Lars says, I know the value I bring, especially in leadership, people development, but I need to learn how to articulate in a way that translates to dollar value.
Yes, I like it. So I think that's good. So here's the number 2 tip is soft skill. And people underestimate this ability for you to hold a professional conversation. So I've got some tips today that we'll try to coach Coder Foundry people on. And the first one is be nice.
Seems obvious. Be nice. Not obvious nice to everybody.
So I think Mark Cuban said it best, and I don't know when he said this, and I don't know what the context was, but he said, being nice is the new superpower. And I thought about that a lot, and I'm like, there's so many people that are angry and mean in all their interactions. It's really difficult for them to be successful in life. And people typically hang out with people that they like and they like each other, and this has nothing to do with society at all. It's just nice people are easy to be around. I mean, try to be nice to people. And that involves all your interactions. But in general, what we're going to talk about is social media, because this is the number one thing that really can be detrimental to your search is if you're not nice on social media. And I try to be respectful and nice to all points of views on social media, and not because I'm afraid. I just think that you win more friends with honey than creating enemies with vinegar. So I think that you can be nice and win more friends instead of being mean to always be right, I guess would be the other thing. So be nice. Anything to add there, Kevin? What do you think?
No, I agree. Totally. Be nice. No. Seems simple, but that's kind of that is the superpower. Yeah, we see a lot of negativity, especially on social media, and the problem is that negativity will get reinforced. Yeah, it gets reinforced by people because they're like, "Yeah, stick it to the man," and it's like, "Yeah, but that person who's saying that isn't the same person that's going to be hiring you." So this getting that camaraderie around a bunch of people who are rallying against the system or whatever it is, may feel good for a second. But the person hiring you isn't saying anything. They're sat back being like, I'm never going to touch that person. They're a walking lawsuit. I'm just not going to waste my time
to deal with. Just a nightmare. Yep. The other thing is, and this one may be a little bit controversial, and I want you to think through this before you flame me in comments. Learn how to hold a professional conversation. And so what we do here at Coder Foundry, believe it or not, is when people pitch their stuff to us for the first time in Monday mornings or whatever, and they pitch it to us, we'll have a comment that Antonio and I use is use your words. And your words are, you've got to talk the lingo. We need you to talk like a coder, not like someone else. And that means remove slang. We look for slang and cuss words, which is the other one. So you can't drop, hey, the F-bomb thing that I wrote is really cool and I effing love this. And so you can't do that like in a professional conversation. You've got to learn to, I guess season your speech, if you use a biblical term, season your speech, but
I think the reason is you could have an argument where it'd be like, well, they do at the job and they're not going to get offended by it. But the thing is, you're never going to be offensive to somebody if you don't do it. You could potentially be offensive to somebody if you do.
Right.
So err on the side of caution.
Yeah. And so things like slang, and I would say there's some slang in every single group so I'm not targeting a specific group. I want you to understand that here in the South, we have lots of slang that we use. We may say howdy, or we may say ain't. I mean, so like it ain't that. I mean, and we have lots of slang, and I work really hard to not talk in terms of slang. So if you have slang in your people group, your friend group, you need to remove that. I play video games with a group of guys, and they're probably watching right now. So I'm not making fun of you, but you make fun of me, so that's okay. I'll
make fun of them. Tell me.
Yeah, they have their own words and language, where I have to sometimes what does that mean? So we're playing several weeks ago, and someone said pog or poggers, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I think it means, and this shows my age, I think it means play the game, but I'm not really sure. But it's like you did good, or that's
it's a term
great,
of It's like it's supposed to be like the highlight part of the game, isn't it? That's what it is. It's like that was the best play of the game. It's like the best part of the game.
But it's been translated into I really like that.
Right, exactly.
Its meaning has morphed from play of the game to pog. That's cool. I mean, what y'all say that's cool, they say it's pog. But I can't walk into a business meeting and look at the system and go, poggers, dude, that is a great feature. What the heck does poggers mean? So those kind of things. The other one's sus. They use sus a lot, and I don't use that word. I had to ask them what that means. I think it means suspect, or it means it's kind of sketchy, or it's kind of even sketchy slang. It
is. Yeah, it comes from Among Us. The game.
Yeah, it comes from Among Us. Okay, all right, cool.
Yep, that's funny.
And now Ridge Raider's saying poggers means legend. Okay. So.
Maybe it has another meaning too. Yeah. I've definitely heard it in video game realms where it is it's literally that was the highlight of that particular game. That was the best play of that game. That's kind of what it means. Right. So yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, it's been co-opted into a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, you're right. Not using being kind of in terms of language, being just using plain language is the way to go.
Right.
Slang words, whatever your local slang is, sometimes it's difficult because you have to, it can be
untrain yourself in a lot of words.
Yeah, you do have to kind of untrain yourself. Yeah, it can be difficult. You would have to think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Same with cuss words if you use them all the time, and a lot of people do. It's like an everyday conversation. They don't really think about it. You have to retrain yourself to kind of eliminate those.
Yeah, you have to make a switch during the interview to where I've got to turn this off. So because I think it can reflect on you badly. And a lot of times what we want to do is put ourselves in the best possible light. And so if you have, I will just pick my friends here in the South, me, and I've tried to work on my accent. People still say I have an accent, but I've tried to really kind of eliminate that accent. But I also instinctively remove certain slang words from my language, because I think that ain't makes me seem less educated when I use it a lot. And I notice it when other people use it, and I'll think of them that way. But then them in real life, oh no, he's a smart guy. He just, he's got the Southern slang going on, but it can make us sound dumber than we are. And so especially if you're doing a nationwide search here in the United States, and you call over into somewhere like San Francisco, New York, or whatever, they immediately will pick up on it. And then you say those words, and then it can make you seem dumb when you're really not, so I think, and the same thing holds true when someone comes from the northern part of our country and they say stuff, they're like, wow, okay, they can seem angry or mean, and it's like, I don't like them, that's just the way they talk. I mean, it's just really not, it's not personal. So
it's funny. I had the other advantage moving to the US with an English accent. People told me they hired me because they automatically gave me IQ points for having an accent. I'm like, wow.
100% is true.
I am totally using that to my advantage. And once I figured that out, I'm like, I am hamming this thing up. Like
exactly.
I'm 100. Yes. Like, yes, I'm going to use all the posh words.
Yes, right. So you have slang words that I noticed that I've actually picked on since we worked together. Like you say, sorted, and I've actually picked up on that word and used that slang term now because you say it's sorted out. We got to sort that out, which is an English thing. I know. So like, which it's sorted. Is that sorted or no? Is that taken care of? Does it work? Is it fixed? Those kind of things. So.
To me, you're just talking normally now. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like you don't use that?
No, we don't.
We do now.
So we do now. And now I've picked up on it. So that's kind of cool. So the other one is, I think in your job search is be excited about your profession in general and be enthusiastic about the job. So if you're interviewing for a role, be excited about the possibilities of the role and try to replace nervousness with excitement. If you can change, they're two similar emotions sometimes, and nervousness can cause you to be like less enthusiastic about it. Enthusiasm is going to be seen as a more positive trait when you're interviewing. And finally, the one that I want to really talk about more than anything is being positive. And this is in everything that you do when you're looking for a role, is being positive about the profession and the industry. I see so many people that are negative about the profession and the industry while they're simultaneously trying to break in to do it. And that's why they don't have success, even if they got all the skill things right. But when you look at all their interactions with people, they're like, coding sucks, or JavaScript sucks, or this sucks, or I can't fix this, like, really, y'all still using that? It's like, so there's a lot of things that are seen to paint yourself in a negative light because you're overwhelmingly negative about the industry. You should be more positive about the industry. And I think that's very important to do, to show that positivity when you're looking for a role. So break down the industry to review, break down the industry that you're in, see kind of the companies, the target companies that you could be at, and then look for jobs, entry-level jobs across the U.S. We were looking this morning, and I found 2 this morning, and I'm going to take out my weird one. So it's a good example. Yeah, it's example. Like, so we had a guy come in this cohort, and if you're watching, I'm not going to name you, but like he's coming. He was a preacher, a pastor at a church. And so normally what you would think is there's no way anything that he has in life that could apply to a technology job. That is the most, if you think, if you just look at outside looking in, I get up on Sundays, I talk to people, and like I visit them in the hospital. That's my skill set. Like what else, what possible value could they find in me? And then when we looked around, we found a job that he's applying for at Samaritan's Purse, which is a Billy Graham outfit, a big, large, global nonprofit that feeds hungry people and the kind of stuff like that, have similar goals. In other words, like the thing you did as a preacher aligns with what we want to do. And now the question is, we want you to come in and interview. So that this is interesting because the interaction with us and the HR people was very cool.
Right.
We call in, and this is how the phone call went. We call in and say, hey, we're what's such and such from Coder Foundry. We have students that learn .NET. And the HR is like, yeah, okay, and we're just seeing if there's anyone interested. And then eventually we got around to it. So, but we had this guy who was a preacher, a pastor, and a former thing, and now he's retraining as a software developer. And then the conversation switches like that. Send him to me. That is the power of your experience aligning with the goals of the company, and you've got software in the middle that links you guys together. But this thing caused him to get an interview. The same thing is a company called Multitrack in Texas, remote .NET job in Multitrack. And Multitrack is a company that creates music that's on different tracks that's used in the worship setting. So like, for example, I was speaking to you this morning. He'd never heard of it until I told him. I was like, so for example, let's say that you go to church on Sunday morning and they're singing, but you don't have a band. All right, you want to sing this song, but you don't have a band. So Multitrack can have all the instruments separated on the track, and then you can raise and mix those on your mixing board and use the instruments you want. So for example, say you got a guitar guy that's leading, but you don't have a drummer. So Multitrack, you can turn all the music down, bring up the drums, and you can mix it in to have a band while they're singing. Multitrack's hiring a .NET developer junior. They're based in Texas, but it's remote worldwide. Both of those, if you've worked in a church, is going to give you more of a leg up when you're interviewing for other people that haven't. And it doesn't mean they won't hire people that haven't. It just means that the other person has a life experience that understands the industry they're in, so they bring something else to the table other than just coding. Then I looked at this other .NET job that is for Sandhills Global, privately held construction company. .NET job, and it's a remote job, and it's like so people think I'm in the trucking industry or I'm in the construction industry, and none of that matters. None of that's coding. I'm breaking my back every single day, and we get it. It is, but when you break down that industry and you start looking at it, there is a ton of software that goes into making those things successful. It's not all about hammering nails or moving things or loading the truck. There's software that's surrounding it, and Sandhills Global is one of those companies that has software jobs all around the world to support the types of things that they do. It's pretty interesting. So I gave you three, how that's kind of interesting. I looked at some others, but I didn't have time to do all the research this morning for you. So what I do is I go to Indeed, or the people that work here at Coder Foundry go to Indeed every single day. We filter by entry level or associate level on Indeed. We type in the stack that we're looking for, which in our case is web developer, ASP.NET, C#. Those are our keywords. And we see the jobs come back. And then we look, is it remote or is it in person? So then we find our cohorts, our people that are in here, and say, oh, Frank lives in Texas. Okay, this is a Texas-based job. What did Frank used to do? Boom, find a match, put them there, call in there and say, hey, Frank is a .NET Gov. He just applied to your role. And you know why he's a match? Because he knows all about what you're doing.
He's actually done it.
And that's what we did at Samaritan's Purse, and we got a guy, at least a look. We don't know what the process is going to happen, but the first step to getting a job is getting an interview. I mean, so if you can't get an interview, it's really hard to demo our projects, demo our things. So we have to arrange interviews for our students. So that's what we do. And you can do what we do, which means it takes a lot of work. Break down the industry that you're in and see if there's any companies that you can target. So if you're working in a retail space and you're thinking, all I've done is say hello to people as they walk into my retail space, look at all the retail companies. There's way more than that.
I was actually thinking about retail this morning after we talked about it. So I was thinking about all the kind of different ways that you things at retail that use software, right? So obvious things like point of sale systems. There's those. There's inventory management that happens at retail. There's supply chain management. There's the loyalty programs that happen at every retail store these days. Every retail store has an app with a loyalty management program. Every one of them. I know because I've got a ton of them on my phone. I hate using the things because you get those little cards, right, with the barcodes. Well, I digitized all mine, put them on the phone. There's a cool app that brings them all together. So you scan the barcode on the things and you get the loyalty points or whatever it is. Or often it's a discount at a store, right? They give you the in-price discount at the grocery store or whatever it is. Right. Then you move into the online retail part of that store as well, the retail store. There's a massive amount of touch points and things that come into working retail that you have kind of insider knowledge of.
Right.
You have domain knowledge, you just don't really realize it, and you have to kind of leverage that. If you're going for a job where you're working on a loyalty program, you're like, I worked at the Lowe's grocery store, and I used to help people with fixing their loyalty programs when they didn't get the discount, whatever. You already understand it. If you use the correct terminology when you're interviewing with somebody, you're going to impress straight out of the gate.
Yeah, so let's look at logically. So you're hiring someone, Kevin, and you got two people come in. They both are equally skilled. They both went to Coder Foundry and some other boot camp. So and they're both equally skilled.
Coder Foundry person's going to win. That's just
always wins. But let's just say that for lack of but that person that you're looking at that went to Coder Foundry has a unique experience in the industry that we're trying to pitch you to. So when we pitch it, we're going to tell that customer, hey, this person did A, B, and C at this job. They also have these projects and these things. That's why they're a fit for this role. And that's when you hear me say it, you need to give them 3 reasons to hire you. When you pitch someone, is one of those reasons is your experience in the industry could be one of those reasons that are what absolutely put you to the top of the candidate list. And then they're going to look at your skills, and then they're going to interview you and hope you can bring some of the soft skills to the table and win. I've seen this. I want to give you hope for everyone out there too. we have seen people that make an A plus person in Coder Foundry, and then I've seen B plus people or C minus people in Coder Foundry. Not everyone is equal, but soft skills can get you over the hump, even if your skills aren't as good as someone that's an A plus that is naturally adept at coding. I've seen tons and tons of people that have gone out of here, and because they could hold a conversation, because they could do those soft skills things that I said, they win. And I'm not amazed by it anymore. At first, I was amazed, like, why did they hire that guy and not this other person? And I really look at this at a detail level so I can place everyone. And we've realized that the soft skills can make you from not being hired to being hired just by that, being able to explain it, to demo it, to talk about your code. And that's why we push so hard in all the videos that we create. We're saying demo, talk about your code, bring soft skills to the table, because if you can do that, you can absolutely move the needle during the interview process. If you're just technical and you're just highly technical, it's really hard. You can lose to other people that are less technical, but they bring all these other experiences and life experience to the table. Or if you don't think about your other experience and you never mention that, you can also cause yourself to lose out, you know? So yep. I think all of the surrounding you have way more experience to offer and way more value to offer than you think. We just need to get to education. And if we can do that, we can push you into those jobs. That's what we do here at Coder Foundry.
I think as we mentioned at the beginning of this too, we mentioned like that software is across the entire economy. It's in every industry. So don't like, because we're saying this, we're like, well, I was like a pet sitter or something. Like, I'm talking, it's everywhere. It is everything.
It's everywhere.
Do not discount any experience you have. Do this exercise. I encourage you to do it. Don't just like feel like, I'm never going to do that. I just like filled shelves or something. Just like whatever it is, do this exercise. Trust me, it will work.
It will work.
The opportunity is massive.
Yeah, and if you like pets, like you're like, I just like dogs and cats. I mean, like, okay, that's your skill set. Let's break that industry down. Is there any companies out there that are servicing dogs and cats? And
there's one right here in North Carolina called Chewy.com, and it is massive.
Massive. Like, there's pet sitters, and then there's dog hotels, and like we have one down the street in Greensboro. Like, really? That's a thing? Like, you can just drop your dog off for 2 weeks and they'll take care of it while you go on vacation. It's a dog hotel. Like, yeah.
And let me guess, they have an app, don't they?
I'm sure they do. I don't know. I don't have a dog. So
well, think about something like Chewy though. Chewy.com is a massive website
e-commerce play.
E-commerce like retail site. It's huge.
Right.
It's huge. They have to have a giant team of developers working on it.
Right. And I looked this morning at Home Depot. Now, currently, right now, as I looked today, there was no junior jobs, but I looked at Home Depot this morning. Really large retail around the home improvement space. I mean, they were hiring 80 developers right now. Like, it's just so. Wow. If you've worked at one of those places, that's going to give you a leg up in there. And so, what I would say, even that they have so much need for so many developers, maybe they don't post the junior jobs, I would still reach out to Home Depot right now if I was looking in there on my own. And I would try to make a contact there to see if there's anything that I could do, especially if you've worked as an associate there or you've worked at the company. I think that can really help you. So even the company you work for could be an avenue for you to work and make that jump into the IT department. So even if that's like, man, I'm flipping burgers at McDonald's, and a lot of times we make fun of McDonald's as the lowest of all the jobs, out there. But like, hey, number one, McDonald's is a really big business. Number two, they have a really large IT problem, and you can just see. But for every McDonald's, there's also a Burger King, a Wendy's, a Five Guys. There's thousands of these guys that do the exact same thing that McDonald's does, that your experience directly relates into, except now you just know how to code. And that makes you infinitely more valuable than the other guy that has never experienced that, never worked there, never done anything. And you have a leg up when you work there. So
yeah, McDonald's is actually really high tech. You've been to McDonald's like recently?
Yeah,
it's very high tech. Like
they're pushing this whole like, we don't want people in the restaurant. They want robots, and
they have exactly. They have touchscreen things in the stores. They have the app you can go to. It's like you just drive up and you give them a code, and it's like already prepaid, and it's like they're very tech forward, very tech forward.
So all of that requires coding. You're not doing that with ChatGPT. I can guarantee you that. So,
GPT didn't write the app
no,
for McDonald's ordering. No, okay.
So, and I think the same thing holds true for all these industries that you're interested in that maybe you haven't worked in, but you know a great deal about. Explain to them that experience that you have, a lot about X. Even though I haven't worked in that industry, and see how that can help you win an interview because of your life experience, things you've participated in. Biggest fans of products sometimes end up working there.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I would say don't forgo the dream because you think your current life experience can't lead you to another job. I can guarantee you it can. And we've placed all walks of life, from teachers, bartenders, preachers, construction people, all of those that have done all those kind of menial labor jobs or jobs you wouldn't traditionally associate with tech jobs, have transitioned into this because their life experience matches what the company does. And therefore now we just need to evaluate your tech skill, and they push you to the top because of that. I like it. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, let's go through some comments and some questions maybe.
Okay, cool.
I'll come back to that one. Let's see here. What Shelley say? While interviewing after bootcamp, interviewers asked me a lot of questions about my prior customer service experience. They were looking for devs relating well to clients.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you got to be able to communicate to people, for sure.
Customer experience, like customer service experience, is a skill, man. It is a definite skill. I'm terrible patient? At it. Yeah, I'm terrible at it. I suck at it. I'm not good at it because of patience. I can fake it, but I'm not really good at it. It's not something I feel naturally talented at.
Right.
Let's see. Bree says, I could see building a SaaS from an industry that someone may have worked at before. Definitely.
Sure.
Because you understand the problem, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You often understand the problem that they're trying to solve. So that definitely helps you in that domain. Yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you see a lot of times. I think you do see a lot of SaaS products built by people who are solving a problem that they've had, right? It's like that work there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's difficult to come up with a SaaS product that you don't really understand, right? Because you don't understand what problem it's solving. So, yeah, I would say that's probably true of a lot of companies. Let's see. Pablo says, actually, after a car accident, I've spent a lot of time doing physical recovery. So use that time in learning how to code. Funny because coding was something always interesting.
Okay, great. Awesome. Keep going.
Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Let's see. Oh, here's a good quote. I put this one in here because it was good. Roadhouse advice, always be nice. Patrick Swayze.
I hadn't seen Brent in a while. Good to see you, Brent.
I can't. Whenever I think of Roadhouse, I always think of Family Guy, the Roadhouse thing, because there's this part in Family Guy where he just kicks everybody and he just says Roadhouse. Like it just, I can't not think of that. It's just funny. It's fun. I like Family Guy. It's a funny show. Hamza says, "Hello, I'm an experienced software project / product manager seeking to transition back to development. Do we have any suggestions?"
You have an actual in, man. So, yeah, software project manager. So, okay, what software projects did you manage? That's the industry you're in. You have an innate look into how the software's written because you manage the project. Now you need to figure out what your code, your technology stack's going to be. So you want to say, all right, what am I going to try to build? Hopefully it's in web. We think it should be web. So you pick up web development and then you pick a stack that aligns with web development. And I think there's 3 major stacks out there. You got Angular, React, and we pick ASP.NET with C#. There's other ones out there that are smaller, less used, but pick one that is in demand in your area and then go for it. Learn how to code, make sure you can show people what you've built, and then get a job. You have experience in the industry. That's going to help you a lot. I promise you. Yeah.
Like choking on my drink over here. Thankfully, mute button. Let me see. What about full stack developer? Demand is up.
Yes. It is absolutely. It's high. So.
Yeah, it's the one place we suggest people look at, right?
If you have no idea what to do and how to break in, pick full stack dev. That's the most in demand job in development right now. Still is. And I don't see any end to that until there's a major shift in how things are delivered. So.
Okay, BP says, part-time work in retail during bootcamp. Now they're looking for IT help. Having used their system on the floor, they sorely needed this. This is okay. This is exactly what I'm talking. You see the pain points. Pointing that experience out when I apply. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. You have a leg up. You understand the terminology. You understand the problem they're trying to solve on a level that maybe some of the other developers even don't.
Here's I'm going to read into this comment, okay? And if this isn't you, that's okay, but I want to bring it up anyway because I think that you can say I have experience about this, but don't point out all of the warts you see about the product, okay? Just say you would love to work on it and you would love to you see the value in the solution they're providing to the people. Talk about the value it has. Talk about how it positively impacts it. You're never going to get hired to come in there and go, you know what's wrong with your thing? You know, and I love this pitch when I get it. Here's a review on your website today, Bobby, and it sucks. And I can fix it. I can fix it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to get someone else. I know, or the other pitch is, you don't have enough sales, Bobby, do you? I know you don't. So you need more, right? So I can help you get more sales. I'm like, nah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, it's not the pitch, is it? It's like, it's like a backhanded insult.
It is an insult. Yeah. So just make sure that you point out the positive impact the product has, the service has on the industry that you've participated in, and the positive interaction you had maybe using their service if it's directly one-to-one, and say, hey, I really like this product. Love to help you continue on your mission to solve whatever that is. So I think that's how I would pitch it. Even if they have lots of problems. That's why they're paying you to be there. They have problems. That's why they're hiring coders. Realize that. Bugs and problems in software is why we have jobs. I've never point them out. Like this is why we get paid. Stuff needs to not work so we can code on it, So that's kind of why we have jobs. So I had go ahead.
Sorry.
So hiring fewer order takers and more developers. I don't know about that, but like
I would say, yeah. I would say they probably
maybe
are. I would say they probably are.
It's
not a 1-for-1 though. They're not ordering.
Yeah, not 1-for-1. But like, if you see people, if you were on the inside of McDonald's corporate, I guarantee you technology is high on their list. How can we use less people in the store? But that job is being translated into the IT department. I'm not sure it's 1-to-1, but that job that they're hiring that developer for is getting paid money. So those are better jobs than the order taker job. So,
yep, definitely. Okay. Let's see. Elastic Hamster, cool name. What does that come from? Good experience with hands-on integration testing for AAA video games be leveraged to move into software development for a non-gaming company.
Look at when you're interviewing, see how your experience relates to what they do. So if you've done integration testing for AAA video games, what is that?
Yeah.
Specifically, what does that look like? What are you doing? And then how does that relate to what they're doing? And yes, you can leverage anything into anything. It's just
I think that's the key there. You're using the integration testing part of that rather than that it was done for AAA video games, right? That's secondary to the fact that you were doing integration testing, right? What tools did you use? What methodologies did you use? Because chances are they're probably using the similar tools and similar methodologies in a non-gaming environment to do similar testing.
Yeah, it's just
that's what you need
it's all software development. It's just that video games solve a specific problem, but typically we use the same kind of things to solve that problem. Yeah. We're using Unreal Engine, whereas the other one we may be using Angular.
Yep.
But they're different. They're different in the tools that they're using, but typically we're building software to do something. And then the things that surround the video game, that surround the website, those are kind of the same. I mean, like they're kind of very similar in like how they test things, what they're looking for, rollout, scheduling, those kind of things. So if you've done some work, you can probably find some similarities
I'm sure you can probably account for this, but or you can probably address this, but integration testing on AAA video games isn't sitting down and playing Xbox for 9 hours and trying to beat it or figure out the problems. It's way more complex. It's like it's a real technical job. So leverage those technical parts that you've done and try and dispel the myth that people are like, oh, you just played video games for a living, because that's what some people think. They think like, oh, video games tester, cool. I want to be a video games tester. I just play games for 8 hours a day, and then I tell somebody like, that guy there's broken. It's like, it's not that. Yeah. It's way more than that. It has to be.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Purple Turtle. A lot of cool names today. A lot of names I didn't recognize. So thanks for watching here, and thanks for commenting too. So I spent 9 years as a financial analyst before switching to software dev. My first dev employer told me one of the main reasons they chose me was my business background.
Yep.
There you go.
I promise you what I'm telling you. It works all the time. People know this, and then they use it all the time. So when you really break down, like, why did this person get a job, and why does this person have applied 500 times and never got a job? Because they can't give the employer a reason to hire them, so they don't get hired. And they do lots of things wrong, but one of these things, these core things they do wrong, is they never tell them what value they bring to the company. And think about your value proposition that you bring to the company. People that do this instinctively, they probably don't know they're doing. A lot of people don't. But I bet you the Purple Turtle in the interview, he talked all about this and his code. And then his dev told him 3 weeks later, you know why I hired you? Man, you knew all about, boom, financial analysts and stuff like that, business background. And that was important to us. So you also, another deep cut into this is like, look at the industry values of maybe the CEO. So a lot of times you can find these CEOs and they have certain values that they really like, and see how some of your values align with those. And so they may be really interested in something else. And so that's important for you to relay those values to them. Now, a lot of them are the same, integrity and honesty and those kind of things, but they may have a specific thing that they're interested in. That's why you do a little research beforehand to see kind of, especially at a small company, see what that business owner likes to do and what they do, and see how maybe your experience aligns with them, you know? So I can tell you this, if you interview at someone that really likes Ohio State football, do not wear a Michigan jersey to that interview.
No question. It doesn't matter how qualified you are.
You're not getting hired. It's as rational as it seems, but it's probably true. I
would say people lost out because of that, for sure. Yeah. I have friends
would
be honest.
I would say don't even wear navy and gold. Those are 2 colors you can't wear to the interview.
Yeah.
Don't even
actually
wear navy
don't wear anything with
gold.
an M. Don't wear anything with an M on it.
So if your name is Mike, change it.
You could just be Ike.
Yeah, just go by your last name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, my maiden name is. My mom gave me my name Mike, but I go by Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like it. Okay, first name, last name says, hello, 2+ decades as a developer. Now I'm a seasoned senior. Okay. Would still like to work, but not coding. What types of jobs could I look at?
Project management, man. That's what you need to be looking at. Architect, project management. Yeah. If you've got 20 years as a developer, then you can architect systems, help drive requirements through the coding staff. A lot of times people do, and I would say age out, but you get tired of the grind and coding, and that's perfectly reasonable. Some people just get tired of learning the next new stack or doing this, and so they go into PM, project management, architect, business. You can go to the business side of the company and help them communicate requirements to the dev staff, so because you know how it's put together. That's what you can do for sure.
Just to confirm, Purple Turtle says you're right. During my interview, I really pushed being able to efficiently communicate with clients, business partners, and working with a team.
Soft skills, baby. I'm a nice guy, and I'm easy to work with. I mean, that's probably why you got hired. So,
Yeah, you did all the right things.
And if you did, and I don't know, and if you did have any lesser skills than someone else, you probably won over that because of that. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like, sometimes you can win when you're not the most technical guy around, but you're going to show up every day, you know about what they're doing, and you're going to be easy to work with. That's just, we'll figure the coding stuff out, we'll figure the other stuff out.
Okay.
What I've always said, if you're going to be mean and angry, you better be a really good coder. Like, you better be like just genius level intellect. There
are some, but it's hard to get past the interview process when you're that person, isn't it?
Yeah,
you have to,
angry coder guy. That's what we call it in our book. If you've ever read the book, we have a section on "Don't be angry coder guy," which is like, just don't be that guy. Be nice. Be easy to work with. It's so much more profitable for yourself long term when you do that, instead of being always right, angry coder guy. Don't be that guy. Don't be angry.
It's tough. There's plenty of those.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Rich Ray says, this is slightly off topic. Rich says, in the videos, it's recommended that our VS Studio or Visual Studio projects be in the same folder as the solution to use on Railway. What if my solution has more than one project?
It just needs to be the startup project, man. So that it needs to be able to find the resources in the startup project. And then if you have more than one project, it'll find the other ones. So those DLLs go in there. So you're going to uncheck the box that the solution and the project are in the same folder. There's a little checkbox when you start it. If you don't, you have to retrofit it like I showed in the video. What we're doing now is just starting off with a flatter project scenario. So the solution and the project in the same folder. It's just the startup one that matters. The other ones, you can have multiple projects and it just works. And if it doesn't, and you're on the self-paced course, just reach out to us. And we'll give you a solution for that. But I do know that people have asked questions that directly to us, and Jacob has came up with solutions. It works on Railway. We're using it now every day, so it just works.
Right.
It's actually gotten better. Even if you have a really specialized thing, what I would say, Rich Red too, you can also just make your own container and just stick the container up there. And as long as you can access that container, it works, and that seems to work really well too. So I haven't seen where we couldn't get it running yet. So it's just that it can't find the startup path for it for whatever reason. And there's probably a technical reason. At the time when I made the video, Railway couldn't tell me how to do it. So I had to come up with some way to get it to work. And I knew it was a pathing issue to try to find the startup stuff. So I just say, hey, put them all in the same folder, it'll find it. And it does.
It was unofficially, it wasn't supported when we first put it up there, was it? So
yeah. And they gave me badges for getting it to work, which is kind of cool. In their Discord channel.
I like it. Okay, I like this question. Let's go to Johan's question here. It says, hello guys, thanks for the content. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, Johan. It says, I've been a software engineer for a little over 3 months, and I feel like I cannot do the job. Realistically, what is the time frame to become good at this?
I don't know. I think it's everyone different. So they give you stuff, and you solve it, and you just keep doing it.
Maybe never.
Maybe never. See, it depends on how people think. Some people think they're really good at stuff and they're not. And there's other people that are really good at stuff and they think they suck at it. So they're always constantly chasing improvement. And so if you chase improvement, you're going to be fine. It just, why you think you're not good at it, maybe you need to look in the mirror and say, why do I think this? What is it about it that I think I suck at it? And can I improve on that? And then you can also just basically go to your boss and say, what could I do better, or things like that. But a lot of people their mentality is different than others, so maybe you'll never where you feel really, really good at it because you're constantly learning new things, and that puts you in a comfortable situation all the time.
I think that's
and you're not good with that, but you constantly deliver, so you actually are pretty good at it. If they keep paying you, so that's good, right?
I think that's the reason they're paying you to solve problems, and you have to if they just knew that you knew the answer, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same gig. You constantly have to learn new things, so you may never ever feel comfortable. And that's part of the ride.
3 months is a very short amount of time too. So I would say this: you're going to probably be for the next year where you're going to feel really uncomfortable every day. I don't know how to do that. It's more research, and that's kind of what you'll do. And eventually, a couple of years from now, maybe you'll come across a problem and say, oh, I've done that before. I know exactly how to do that. And bam, you can solve that real quickly. Whereas before, it took you weeks or days. So.
And it may be uncomfortable to ask for feedback too, but I would suggest asking for it.
Yeah.
Ask for it. Because you may be feeling man, do I want to poke this to be remind them that I'm not very good at this?
Yeah, they're gonna fire me if they find out.
If you're not, they know anyway. They're gonna fire you anyway, so you might as well figure it out.
Yeah.
But chances are you're not. I think that's the same thing that everybody has. Imposter syndrome is hard. It's there when you're learning. It's there when you start. It's there 10 years time when you still can't figure out something. So yeah, don't overly concern yourself about it. But try and get feedback if you can, to see if you are actually doing a good job or not.
Yeah.
You really want to try and figure out.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Mustafa says, what is the future of .NET web apps, MVC or Razor Pages?
Super strong, man. Look at .NET 8 and just go look at what they're doing. They're still improving on the MVC or Razor Pages, which that's called their form-based technologies. They also have Blazor coming down the pipe, which is probably, if you could work at Microsoft and know exactly what they think the future is, they think it's Blazor. But mass adoption right now today, web form or MVC or Razor Pages is the kind of where it's at. I think MVC is more in demand because it's been around longer. It's a more proven framework than Razor Pages, even though Razor Pages works. It's just not as many people using it just because it's newer and it is very Microsoft specific way of doing things. Here's what I'll say though. Once you jump into Blazor, it's going to look a lot more like Razor Pages than MVC. So I think that's the future of .NET. I think whatever you do and whatever you think about this, ASP.NET as a framework has a super bright future. And that includes Web API, Blazor, MVC, and Razor Pages. There's really 4 ways that they're doing it. You also can build Web API, and they have templates already built in that have Angular and React on the front end, that you can just fire up a React project, fire up an Angular project, and start coding the back end. So there's a lot of development from Microsoft. So I think it's a really bright future for all of it. So I think it's really cool.
Cool. I just want to finish up with this from Valentino Antonio, because I hadn't seen you comment before. And
all right.
There you go.
Have a great weekend too. All right.
So yeah, good to see you here again. Yeah, have a great weekend. And that goes to everybody here. We'll be back again next week. Oh, we do have our next virtual cohort coming up.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So let me sell you real quick. If you're still here, hey, you want to learn how to code, we'd love to see you March 27th. If you need assistance with jobs, we can do that. If you want to learn .NET, we can teach you that and try to break you into that first job. Now, in-person cohort, 12 weeks, 40 hours a week. But we're here every single day to help you push through that job and get you that next thing. So sign up now. We do interview for these positions, so you can't sign up on March 26th. You know,
right.
Kevin. So people do.
Right.
Like, we're closed.
When you apply, you do get to have an interview with Bobby. So there is that.
Most of the time, yeah. most of them. I do interview practically every student that comes through here because I want to make sure that we can actually do for you what we say we can do. And so we talk about location, where do you live, like what's your outlook, you know, those kind of things. So there's a lot that goes into the interview process, and then we accept students that we think we can help. And that's most of the people you can help. And then Refrigerator says, get some cookies. We have Crumble.
We do. Yeah, the link for that application, by the way, is down in the description below. It's codefound.com/apply. So anybody that is interested in the next virtual cohort, starts March 27th. Link is down below. Refrigerator, I just see it come through too. Refrigerator's give some cookie money. Thank you. Funnily enough, Refrigerator, this is the funniest thing. That $10, which I really, really, really thank you for, will actually just get us 2 cookies. It's insane how expensive Big Cookie is. Crumble is very expensive. So 2 cookies. Yeah. So we're about ready to move into the new building. So Bobby and I were there the other day, and we were walking across some stuff. We're like, let's go try a cookie next door. So we go in there.
They are good.
They are good. Here's the thing too. Talking about tech in other industries, the tech in Crumble is interesting. They have their own cool point of sale system that's fully customized, where you order this thing on like an iPad looking thing, and then it comes up on your name comes up on a screen when it's ready. Like we're talking about like a cookie company, man. A cookie company's high tech. It's kind of crazy. 2 things: cookies and ice cream. I mean, they really have 2 main projects. And I was reading about them the other day on their grand opening. They had 2,000 people at the cookie store on their grand opening. Wow.
You have to walk right past
really?
Coder Foundry. You have to walk past Coder Foundry to get to Big Cookie.
Yeah, that's why they were like, "What do these guys do? What do they? What do they do? What is Coder Foundry? What do they do?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, but yeah, it's a decent cookie. It's all right. I'm not sure if it's a $5 good cookie, but it's all right.
Yeah. Hey, if they put an ad right there in the middle, it can be a great cookie. So.
I'll say it's the greatest chocolate chip cookie in the world.
Yeah. You replace that little CF logo in the middle there, right in the middle of the thing.
With a cookie?
Yeah, with a cookie with a CF on it. And then make
I'm not saying it's bad. It's a decent cookie. But
it's a good cookie. It is. They are really good. They're not cheap. No, that's not.
You're paying for the experience. The experience is cool. The store is very cool. Great. The packaging, the little pink box you get is very cool. Yeah. Like it's cool. They have a thing. It's definitely a thing. If you've never been into one and you just want to see the technology, go in. The point of sale technology is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so they got an iPad. They got a custom built iPad on a hinge or whatever. Maybe a third party provides for them. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But it's pretty slick. I haven't seen it before, so like it's pretty.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that particular implementation of it before. No, either. Yeah. But the whole just that your name comes up on a screen as well, and there's a big list of things, and they come and they show you your cookie when you get it. Like, is that okay? Yeah. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, no, that one looks terrible.
No,
like,
it's terrible. That chocolate chip is in the wrong spot.
The presentation of the cookie is a thing. It's like a $2 cookie, but you're paying like $4 something for it because of this whole like experience that surrounds it. Which,
it is a big cookie, though. We will say it is like a really.
It is a big cookie. I didn't eat all mine in one. I ate it over 2 days. It is a big cookie.
Well, that's the difference between me and you. I eat everything.
Oh, you ate the cookie. Okay.
My mom told me to clean my plate. I always clean it. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So check out Big Cookie Crumble. You should, if you've got one near you, go check it out. See if you.
And if anybody works at Crumble and you want to talk about us, we'd love to, talk to you about how we could.
Definitely.
Sell cookies for you.
Rich Raider says, next week we'll do a live from the cookie store.
Live from the cookie store.
Maybe it is right next door. You could actually
next door.
We should have you on a phone on here, and we can have you dial in. You can I'm just gonna go next door and get a cookie, and you walk in next door and kind of grab the cookie.
Like, I'm live from Crumble.
Yeah. Kind of walk through the live from Crumble shot.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm getting a cookie while we were doing this, before the credits roll. So.
Ridge Raider, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Definitely. Thanks a lot.
We'll be back next week.
Good luck. Keep coding, guys, and don't give up. Keep looking for that job. They are out there. I promise you. Just make projects and tell someone why you can work there. Good luck. See you.
We'll catch you guys later.